great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, you know. When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
Please read out from Walter Reed.
The mistake that I made, and I made this early on, from all the movies that we see growing up about heroes and villains, is that I thought that fascist takeover attempts were going to be architected by evil geniuses. And I was not expecting how unearned, nepotistic, mediocre, and just dumb so many of the people architecting this were going to be. And it works because of brute force. Like, you can do anything through brute force, but it's not sophisticated and it does not merit my intellectual respect. That's my thought of the day. And even to that, like, that's why the right is like, you were a bartender, like, to kind of project their insecurities onto me. But like, yeah, I did something. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say that. I did something. A lot of these people had their mommies or their daddies or their little benefactors or their little billionaire friends place them places because they didn't earn nothing. Because they can't do it without crutches and silver spoons and mommy and daddy and like whatever billionaire ass they're kissing. And it's like, that's a real shame. And that's the real source of a lot of this insecurity, because they are mad that someone from a lesser class is outclassing them.
At a historic rally in New York City right now for Zohran Mamdani, AOC just gave a fiery speech where she went directly after Donald Trump, saying there was a country before Trump and there will be a country after Trump. Take a look at this incredible speech from AOC.
No matter what he's doing, that house doesn't belong to him, New York. It belongs to us. It belongs to the people of this country. And I want us all to remember and to know that the future, our future, is not determined by a despot in a house built by enslaved people. Our future will be determined not in a house built by slaves, but in a city built by freemen, in a city built by unionists and immigrants and suffragists. The bricks laid by working people, past, present, and future, the seamstresses and the unionists who paid for our rights in blood. This city was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country, in a vision to build the freest, toughest, and greatest city on earth, and we will not stop now, New York.
You can tell AOC understands the stakes of this moment, and also she went on to talk about how while Trump and the MAGA extremists paint us as the enemy within, the radical leftists, in reality, all we're asking for is a dignified life for all New Yorkers and all Americans. Having childcare to be free and accessible, having public transportation so people can get to work, and having housing and rent that people can afford. These are not radical ideas, no matter what Donald Trump wants you to think.
Being really serious. This is DHS
and the administration putting out misleading, sometimes completely false information about what's going on in Chicago and Portland, places where you have big military presence, where you have incidents involving CBP and ICE. Obviously, you're seeing these unbelievable videos coming out of Portland and Chicago. You have a member of the clergy being shot in the head with a plastic bullet, it appears. You've got tear gas being dispensed into neighborhoods. It's absolutely out of control. But I want to talk to you about what happens after these incidents take place. Last weekend, a Border Patrol agent shot a Chicago woman who was involved in an altercation with CBP vehicles. Less than 3 hours after that shooting, DHS puts out a statement, and it makes these pretty remarkable claims to justify why the agent had no choice but to fire his weapon. But it turns out that many of those claims were either misleading or just plainly untrue. DHS, for instance, says that leading up to the shooting, federal agents were, quote, rammed by vehicles and boxed in by 10 cars. They put a specific number on it, 10 cars. That sounds really serious. But then they file the actual criminal complaint. And what the criminal complaint says is different. 2 cars. Okay? The image in your mind of 10 cars circling a DHS vehicle, very different than 2 cars. DHS also said in that statement that the woman was, quote, armed with a semi-automatic weapon. Okay, that sounds serious. But guess what? In the criminal complaint filed by the U.S. attorney, no mention of her threatening agents with a gun. In fact, the criminal complaint doesn't mention a gun at all. And third, DHS alleged that the Chicago police left the scene, refused to help federal law enforcement officers secure the area. That's just a bold-faced lie. We know that because there are photos of Chicago police officers at the scene following the shooting. Not only that, there's a video of Chicago officers wiping their eyes after they were tear-gassed by federal agents. So the DHS statement, which they rush out 3 hours after the shooting to try to justify what happened, is just filled with misleading and false claims. And it's really disturbing because it's becoming their standard practice. So here's another example. In mid-September, ICE shoots a 38-year-old father of 2 during an attempted arrest. Again, they put out a statement, and the statement claims that the victim is a criminal, illegal alien. Turns out this man has no criminal record. And then there's this video showing an ICE raid that was conducted on an apartment building in Chicago. What you see is federal agents rappelling down from a Black Hawk, kicking in doors, they're arresting people. But what you don't see is the U.S. citizens, including military veterans, who were pulled from their beds and detained for hours. These aren't undocumented immigrants. These are U.S. citizens. You don't see in those videos the kids who were reportedly separated from their parents, who were zip-tied together and detained in the middle of the night. None of that is in the statement or the videos that you get from the administration. Perhaps the biggest fabrication of all is DHS's insistence that they are only in all these situations targeting what they call, quote, the worst of the worst. When in reality, we've got data that shows that 70%, 7 out of 10 people that ICE is detaining have no criminal convictions. The Department of Homeland Security, the Trump administration, they are contorting, they are omitting facts in some cases, and in other cases, they are straight up lying in order to support their narrative that these Democratic-led cities and states are war zones. This isn't information, it's propaganda.
You're going to get a rant. Did you see this clip?
What do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can, but don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying, all right? They're dying. What do you mean?
It's just so wild to me. They're dying. They're dying. Don't you know? They're dying in Argentina. But Americans, they're fine. Ranchers are fine. They can spare the money. They're not going bankrupt to the tune of 77 a day. Farmers are fine. They're not going bankrupt in numbers that are basically unprecedented. Americans are fine. They're not lining up at food kitchens. They're not desperate and working 3 jobs to pay their rent. They're not losing sleep at night worrying about how they are going to afford the health insurance, which is about to like quadruple in cost. The absolute arrogance and obliviousness of this man is staggering to me. I don't care if you voted for him or not. I hope that it is becoming clear to you. He literally could not care less about a single person in this country who is not worth $1 billion or more. He doesn't even care about the people in Argentina. He cares about propping up their economy because a whole bunch of his billionaire friends have money invested there. And if that economy collapses, they're going to lose a shitload of money. That's why he cares. Look it up. And we will end up bailing them out again and again and again. Meanwhile, ranchers, farmers, people who are affected by the tariffs, people who just can't afford groceries anymore or rent, all of us going under. But we don't matter because billionaires don't need us to prop up their investment accounts. It is such a grift. And if you think it's going to stop being a grift anytime soon, you are deluded. We can overturn this regime together, but it is going to take Americans deciding that they hate the people above them more than they hate each other. When we make that decision, this country can finally unite. And we can create something that actually works for all of the people in this country. Because people in this country are dying. But Donald Trump doesn't give a shit.
For the first time in U.S. history, the average price of a new car has hit $50,000. Donald Trump promised to bring prices down, but under his leadership, everything costs more. Let's break it down. In just 1 year, the price of everything has jumped 29%. Food at home, up 27%. Eating out, up 39%. Electricity bills, up 62%. Gas for your stove, a shocking 138% increase. Rent has climbed 36%, and medical care is up 42%. It's not just one product. It's the entire cost of living, from your groceries to your power bill, crushing families across the country. They said things would get cheaper, that America would be affordable again. But the reality? Working families are paying more than ever for the same gallon of milk, the same rent, the same car they used to dream about. So here's the question for every voter who believed Trump would make life more affordable. If prices are higher, if savings are smaller, if the American dream now costs 30% more, will you still vote Republican again?
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time, oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Be a good time, gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
All right. Hopefully we're on. Are we on? Let's see. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hopefully we're on. Are we on? I think we're on. All right, guys. A really late start. 11:53 a.m. here in the beautiful, in the Pacific time zone in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, Nick Rich there, 11:53. So thanks for the long wait. I really wasn't expecting Hal Sparks to go so long. I like to wait until he's done because most of my audience is from over there. So, but most of you guys are sparklers. So welcome, sparklers that are here. I do appreciate you very, very much for coming in and hanging out with us here on this day, beautiful day. It's currently about 74 degrees. We have an expected high of 83 here in Vegas today, with the overnight low at 60 degrees. So a little sweater weather in the evening there, I guess. But thanks for being here. Now, I'm not able to go back to the top of the chat, but I did see, I think, Mr. Spock in there. I did see Sandy. I don't know if Sandy, I don't know, Sandy kind of goes in and out. So, but I did see their $2 super chat from Sandy. So yippee, there's your yippee. Thank you so much, Sandy. And that was before the goal was started, so we are still 0 for 5 on the goal, by the way. But thank you, Sandy. I do appreciate you. And I did see you guys coming in. I even popped in with a little message of my own when there was like 5 people waiting, and I was just saying, hey, guys, are waiting for Hal and Tara. They were a bit long-winded today, which is fine. It was good stuff. Yeah, I just thought I would wait. So now here we are. Hopefully I'm not buffering. I did freeze up on my iPad for a second, but that might be my iPad problem. Oh wow, I got a little scratch in my throat there or something. I don't know. But anyhow, good morning or good afternoon. It's almost noon here in Vegas, so a lot of you, it's already well into the afternoon. The opening intro, just want to make a quick comment about that. Donald Trump, you're an asshole. The more I watch, it's like I guess I will never stop being amazed at what an asshole this guy is, Donald Trump. You know, he's so stupid, and that's why I put the thing with AOC. She's basically saying, you know, I can't believe these guys are so stupid, you know, and Trump is calling her stupid because he passed this cognitive test. That's not even a fucking IQ test, you dipshit. That cognitive test is just to see if you're fucking in full-blown dementia or not. Anyhow, Trump needs to be removed. At this point, I'm saying by hook or by crook, he needs to be fucking removed. All right, so anyhow, let me go through the chat. We got 49 watching, only 32 thumbs up. So right now, we are currently operating like a bunch of sleazebag Republicans at a deficit. Let's get more democratic up in this house, up in this chat, and get those thumbs up and get to at least a balanced budget, like the good Democrats I know most of us are. Anyhow, so I'm just picking up in the chat where Aaron says, "Hey, twisted nerves," just in case if anyone remembers that point. So Aaron's here. Good to see Aaron. Thanks for coming on in and helping me out with the mod duties. I guess Molly is here because someone is saying at Molly. Nick Rich, is that Nick Rich? I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to tell now with these with the ats. I know the at thing. I don't know. I have no control over the at thing. Just if you guys don't like it, just there are ways in your settings where you can send off a little free form message and just tell them that you hate the ats. Because I've done that. I don't know if it'll do any good or not, but you never know. Twisted Nerves Painting is here. I did see Twisted Nerves in there earlier. Twisted Nerves still doing some editing while waiting. So there you go. While you're waiting for the show to come on, you can take care of some other business. We got Lynn Lynette here. Hello, Lynn. If I can remember your regular name or profile name, I'll try to do it. Lynn Lynette is what I remember that as. Aaron's here. Bob Perez from down San Diego. Hey, Robert Perez. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. See, I never know if I should call you Bob Perez or Robert Perez, but anyhow. Robert's here. Says, hello, Trucker John. Have a groovy day. And to all in the Trucklers Lounge, have a wonderful day and stay woke. Yes, stay woke, my friends. Stay woke. Bonnie Balcom is here, which I think Bonnie is usually a different name. We gonna be all right, huh? We gonna be all right. Well, I gotta remain hopeful that we're gonna get through this. It's good. I mean, no doubt it's fucked. I think we are really fucked right now. But I've got to maintain the hope that we will get through this. You know, we've gotten through so many other things in the past. I mean, even going back to the Great Depression, and you know, I mean, we got through slavery. We got through taxation without representation, and when we had the revolution with the start of this country. We got through 9/11. We made it through Reagan and the Bushes. We made it through Trump's first term. We made it through COVID. I'm really hopeful that we'll make it through this. Then this is really testing us, man. It's we're like bursting at the seams here as whether or not we're gonna survive this. But if we do, then that's a real. I mean, this is more like battle testing, man. We are going to be battle hardened, And I dare any other fucking country to try to overtake us if we can survive this. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think we'll come out better on the other end. Hopefully, we better, right? We better survive this, and we better come out better for it. In other words, learn our lessons. Stop electing fucking Russian assets who are sexual assaulters and felons. Stop electing those to be our leaders. And getting good quality people in there who believe in the Constitution, who believe in democracy, who believe in freedom. Hey, 007 Kevin Trollslayer is here. Good to see you. He's back. Apparently, he was here and he left and came back, or something. I don't know, but he's back. Trollslayer is back. 007 Kevin. James Jaramillo is here. Hey, James, good to see you. James Jaramillo is here. Mad Max, Slava Ukraini, all the way, 100% on the Slava Ukraini. Thanks, Mad Mac, for coming on in. I appreciate you. Bonnie Balcom. I think, Bonnie, I know that's not your profile name usually. Is it just Bonnie usually? I forget. So however you want me to say it, you can let me know. Because I don't know. Anyhow, Bonnie says, yep, AOC fucking knows. Don't let the bastards get you down, maybe? AOC, by the way, she's running. She hasn't said she's running for president in 2028, but she's running. She's fucking running. I mean, come on. I've loved her ever since she won the first time. And I was like AOC for president then, even though I knew she wasn't even old enough. And I knew, and I even have stated over and over again that I would like to see her get more seasoning, be in Congress for a number of years, maybe even go into the Senate, be a senator for a bit. You know, she was so young that she's got 20 years to kind of grow and just continue to get wiser and wiser and wiser in the ways of politics and everything else. So that doesn't mean she can't run and then run again. I mean, Joe Biden ran like 2 or 3 times at least before he won, right? I think he ran before. Other presidents have run before. So, I mean, she can run. And just because if she doesn't win or doesn't get the nomination, doesn't mean she can't run again. Now, if you get the nomination and you lose, that seems like that it's kind of like the end of your presidential aspirations. But if you run and you drop out because it just wasn't the right time, that doesn't mean you can't run again down the road. Anyhow, I love AOC. If she runs in 2028 for president, she's on the top of my list between her and Newsom. And people will say, "Wow, that's crazy," because Newsom's a fucking centrist, moderate, and AOC is like this radical left progressive. But do you see? There's really I think there's very little difference between a centrist moderate Democrat and the radical left progressive like Bernie Sanders, who's not really even a Democrat. He only becomes a Democrat when he runs for president. But there's Bernie and there's AOC. Just like when in 2016, during the primary, I voted for Bernie, but I still liked Hillary, and I voted for her in the general. And as far as I was concerned, the difference in their policy positions and their ideology was like this much. There was like this much separation. So that's why someone might think I'm weird, I'm crazy, because my top 2 choices might be Gavin Newsom and AOC, and they're going to go, oh, they're not so different. They're not that different. They're not really that different. Anyhow, tangent number 1 has been completed. Petrazi1920 is here. Hey, Petrazi, good to see you. There's Nick Rich, like number 22. We now have 54 watching, only 43 likes. We are still operating like really scuzzy Republicans at this point, guys. And I know you don't want that. I know you don't want to be called scuzzy Republicans. So let's get us up to that. Let's be more like good Democrats and get to a balanced budget on the old thumbs ups. Barney Malcolm's speech is on fire. I think that's in reference to AOC, of course. She was on fire. The crowd was going crazy. If she doesn't run for president, she should at least run, I think, for Senate at some point. I think she should take Chuck Schumer's seat. I think Schumer should do the honorable thing and just retire from politics. Dude, you had your time. You served a good purpose for your time, for your generation, and for the times that we had. But now it's time for you to move on. It's time to get the younger blood in there. I think AOC would be perfect. If she doesn't run for president, she would be perfect for Schumer's seat. I believe. I do believe that. Victor Harshman's here. Hey, Victor, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Victor says, pray for the people of Jamaica. Now, I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Is that about the extrajudicial murders or something? Or is this about an earthquake? I know there was an earthquake on the Pacific Ocean, I think. And Japan was getting hit with tsunami or tsunami warnings. I don't know if they actually got a tsunami or not, but there was like high waves coming through. I don't know what's going on with Jamaica. I missed it. But pray for them anyhow. Just pray for them, because I think anyone could use a prayer. Probably just about any time. Barney Malcolm says food is a human right. Housing, healthcare, treated like a full citizen is a human right. I agree, and I think that it's the government's responsibility to make sure that its citizens are properly fed and housed and clothed and educated. That's a government responsibility to maintain those rights. Those shouldn't just be options. Oh, we have the option to help people get food and clothing and shelter. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. And we probably won't. That's the attitude of Republicans. We probably won't. They're just a bunch of freeloading welfare queens anyhow, right? Let's see. Lynn Lynette said, Damon, it didn't post. I don't know. Kind of a little mid-thread there. I don't know what that was. Something didn't post, apparently. Michael McAndrews is here. Michael, good to see you. Thanks for popping in to the Driver's Lounge. Michael McAndrews says the traders called J6 a peaceful protest. That's their idea of a peaceful protest. Breaking down the doors and the windows, smearing feces all over the walls, erecting a whatchamacallit, hangman noose thingy, a gallows pole. There we go. Erecting a gallows pole. Oh my. Hangman! Hangman! Anyhow, Tim Farrell's here. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Hangman, how's that go? Hangman, hangman. Was it like, won't you hold it a while? I think I see my brother coming, riding for many a mile. Something like that. I say, hangman, hangman. Was it like, first you get a little gold? I don't know. I can't remember all the words. I got too much on my mind to remember all them words. Can't remember all them words. Words are for sissies. I'm just scrolling down. I'm scrolling down through the trot. Michael McAndrews says Trumpy and his crony caused Argentina's problems. Problem? I say, hangman. Now that song's in my head. DPD 5844 is here. Hello, DPD 5844. Good to see you. Victor Harshman says Malay party wins midterms. Guess that's what 40 billion buys you. I guess so. It's a sad state of affairs, my friends. A sad state of affairs. Anamore says, right, Mr. Agent Orange, as per the video, people in Argentina are fighting for their lives, and we, the people in these United States, are fighting for our freedom and for our lives. Stephanie B2 is here. Hey, Steph, good to see you. Stephanie says, Trump is trying to say electricity has gone down, like the prices, I guess. He is such a fucking liar about everything. Yeah, he is a liar. He holds the record for being the most untruthful president in U.S. history. So why stop now? I guess. It's not like he's going to just stop lying now. Manda the Pivot says, thank you, TJ. You're welcome, Manda. I don't know what I did to earn that, but you're welcome. You're welcome. Twisted Nerve says, wait until they see their next medical insurance bill. Yeah. That was during the intro. Yeah. About how prices have gone up. What was it? 67% or some shit, Yeah. Wait till those ACA, subsidies don't go through. They're just not going to be able to pay. People are just going. They're going to go off healthcare. They're going to lose their healthcare, and it's going to lead to people dying. And Trump and the maggots and all of the Republicans who let the maggots run roughshod over everything, apparently they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck how many people die. Ivy Joe Raines is here. Ivy Joe says, why do people think a con is honest? Blows my mind. Well, that's true. Con man is running an elaborate lie to fool people, to fool people into giving them their time, their money, and thinking it's for some good cause or thinking it's for a good reason. Hence the word con, which is short for confidence. You're a confidence man. So you're fooling people into having your confidence or having confidence in you. Lynn Lynette says hi. Let's see. Damon Dog the Big Dog is here. Damon Dog says, I really enjoyed it. If they came back next year, I'm not sure if that was about a concert or about something coming back. I'm a bit mid-thread, but Damon will be better prepared next year if they come back. So that's good to know. It's good to know. Preparation is a key to success. Aaron West says, I picked up pumpkins and mums just before the rain started. That's good. You got there before the rain. Nick Rich 1153. I am now, what am I, 20 minutes behind? I am 20 minutes behind you, Nick. Here's the thumbs up. So this is just when I started coming in from the intro. From there, let's see. Who else we got in here? People talking about the weather because I talked about the weather. Man to the Pivot says it's 83, not cold yet. Linda Net, a good way to start. Good way to start every show. What, late? 40, almost an hour late. 45 minutes late. Twisted Dinner Painting says low IQ and fascism seem to go hand in hand, especially for the followers. They think fascism is protecting them against whatever the other is. Johnny Katz is here. Hey, Johnny Katz, good to see you. Johnny Katz says, not to mention IQ doesn't even denote intelligence. You could have a high IQ and still be dumb as shit. And conversely, you could be of low IQ and still have genius. Kind of like idiot savant, maybe? Would that be an idiot savant? I have a relatively, apparently above average IQ, but I'm pretty stupid. Actually, I fit in that category. High IQ, and yet still stupid. My IQ is about 135, which is above average, I think. I think 145 is genius. Now, I don't think I'm a genius. Nowhere near it. So these IQ things are kind of sus. Kind of sus. But definitely I fit in the high IQ and yet stupid category, I believe. Buddy Bachman says, damn it, this is some bullshit. Having panic attacks since the news about Snap broke. I got to get mad again. I know. That, just more cruelty upon cruelty upon cruelty. But that's them saying, oh, this is the Dems. This is the Democratic shutdown. So if you don't get your Snap, blame the Democrats. No, this is the fucking Epstein. I like that. I think it was Tara or somebody said, this is the Epstein fucking shutdown. And all they got to do is open Congress and open negotiations about restoring the health care subsidies. And this all goes away. And I mean, we still have problems. Here, let me put I did find this meme. I thought it was kind of interesting. I kind of put this up because I think I can relate to it as far as the senior citizen part. I don't live in Florida, but this guy, whoever this guy is, he looks like he's my age, about, says, I live in Florida. I am a senior citizen. I want to thank President Trump. I think this is dripping with sarcasm, right? Anyhow, I want to thank President Trump and Governor DeSantis for not caring whether I live or die. But if I'm alive in November, and I think we're talking November of next year, right? I will crawl naked over broken glass smeared with COVID virus in order to vote against Trump and every Republican I see. That's the part I really relate to. And this is signed Joe Albanese, a retired cop, for God's sakes, in Florida. Pro-American, anti-Trump. Absolutely. I'm pro-American. I'm pro-democracy. I'm I'm pro-Constitution. And I'm definitely anti-Trump. So I can relate to this guy, except I'm not a cop and I don't live in Florida. Other than that, I think, I think we're kind of on the same page there, Joe. We're on the same page, Joe. Squirrel Girl's here. Hey, Squirrel Girl, good to see you. Squirrel. Thanks for coming on in, hanging out with us. Catherine Real Help Talk is here. Hey, Catherine. Good to see Catherine in the driver's lounge. Pull up a seat, grab a coffee and a bagel, and kick back. Anna Moore says the GOP needs to get the courage to impeach this president. Why isn't the ICC not looking into the many crimes Trump is committing? Maybe they are. Maybe they just haven't announced it yet. Damon Dog, but will we make it through the World Series? We will, Damon Dog. We will. Game 3 is tonight. The Dodgers on Saturday night had a great comeback. Yoshi, I just call him Yoshi. Complete game, magic, awesomeness. Really shut down the Toronto hitters, and the Dodger offense, had a couple of home runs there, and Big Will Smith and Mighty Max. So we got the offense we needed, and great pitching performance. Tonight is Game 3 in LA. The next 3 will be in LA, and hopefully the Dodgers. Okay, I'm not making a prediction. I'm not predicting anything. I'm not predicting that they're going to win the next 3. I'm saying hopefully the Dodgers will win the next 3, and then they'll win the series at home. They will have won the World Series if they can win the next 3. Okay? I'm not saying that they will. I'm saying I'm hoping. And I'm saying that they can. They're certainly talented enough to do it. But I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying I hope they do. And I'm saying that they can do that. They're certainly talented enough. If the pitching holds up and they can continue great performances like they did with Yoshi Saturday, and if the Dodgers can provide enough offense, have a couple bombs there, a couple get put some crooked numbers on the board, then they can do it. It just comes down to the performance on the field. How are they going to do? And if Tyler Glasnow can pitch really good tonight, and then I think is it going to be Shohei tomorrow night? Would that be Shohei's turn? I think so. So we'll just have to see. That's why they play the games, to see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm rooting. Of course, I'm rooting for the Dodgers. I got the cap. I got the shirt. I got the gear. I got the lifelong following. I've been following and a fan number one. They're my favorite team since the fucking late '60s. When I started watching, and kind of understanding what sports and shit, Rams, Dodgers, Rams. Those are my 2 favorites. ever since the 60s. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But again, I've made no predictions. I'm just saying I hope they win, and I think they can win. And I do think they are, on paper, the better team. They have the better team. But that's, like I said, that's why they actually go out and play, because a pitcher can have a down night, like Blake Snell. Wasn't pitching as well as he had on the previous outing. So, but that doesn't mean he can't come in on game 5 and pitch just as good as he did back in the was it the NLDS or whatever it was. Whack P264 is lurking, I believe, otherwise known as P Dubs. Hello, P Dubs. Thanks for coming on in and lurking. That's fine. Thanks for saying a quick little comment there. Stephanie B2 says here in Stockton, ICE has weekend check-ins for people going through the process, and they arrested them when they came to check in this time. And don't we always hear like you're supposed to they don't want you just sneaking in or whatever. You're supposed to do it the right way, and you're supposed to get in line. There's people that are in line. They are in the courtrooms, in courthouses, and they're in line, and they're waiting to get their cases handled. And they're plucking them out of the line, and they're hauling them off to some detention center. So how in the hell do you expect people to do it the right way, quote unquote, the right way, if they're going to be so afraid they might get, arrested and taken to some fucking alligator Alcatraz or something? Barney Balcom says the rotten crap going on is the reason I watch silly shows like The Tick and Community. I've never really watched The Tick. I think I may have seen a few episodes. That's like a pretty old show, right? I think I saw it a long time. Is it Janine Garofalo in that? Yeah, Garofalo. Whatever it is. And the Community. Yeah, I used to like that show. That was a funny show. I think I saw probably just about every episode of that. I like those. I like the Community. Yeah, it's a funny show. Jörgen Johansson is here from, I believe, Sweden or somewhere. Or Switzerland? No, I don't know. But Jörgen from somewhere Scandinavian country, I believe, says you have elected 2 Nazis before, the Bushes with the Grandpa and Dad Prescott in front of Dad Prescott. We never voted for Prescott, but yeah, in front as the Nazi bankman in U.S. during World War II. Well, he wasn't elected in World War II. Prescott, I don't believe he was never president. So, but anyhow, the Bushes were Nazis. I don't know. I don't want to defend the Bushes. I'm no fan of the Bushes. That's for sure. I think the Bushes were opportunists that had no problem killing people if it meant their businesses' stock would rise. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Bushes are like kind of like amoral, apolitical, who really just care about themselves, kind of like Trump. I don't know if Trump is actually a Nazi. That doesn't mean we don't have Nazis like Stephen Miller in the White House, and that certainly doesn't mean we're not fascist. I don't know if they're actually Nazis. I think they're just these sociopathic narcissists that really don't give a fuck about anyone or anything other than themselves and enriching themselves. Not that isn't maybe a good indicator of who might be a Nazi. But anyhow, I guess I get your point. Yeah, they're all. We've had some dirty and pretty bad leaders in the past. Sandy Foltz is here. Sandy says, so does Jin, the base need to be removed? I don't know. We don't need to bring it up. I haven't seen him. As far as I know, they may have self-deported. They may have ejected or whatever. So we don't need to bring him up, Sandy. No sense. No, and I should not have even read that probably because we don't need to stir up old things. Michael McAndrews and David Windler says, well, David Windler says AOC VP straight white male. I don't know what that means. Michael McAndrews, AOC is great. I think she's great too. I think she's awesome. And maybe the third time would be the charm. You know, Hillary couldn't do it. Kamala couldn't do it. Maybe AOC, maybe the third time would be the charm, you know. I guess there's headlines about Kamala Harris hinting that she might run in 2028. Fine, let her run. Just because I voted for her in 2024 doesn't mean I'll vote for her in 2028 necessarily. And it doesn't mean I won't vote for her. It's just like Bernie. I voted for Bernie in the primary in 2016, but in 2020 in the primary, I voted for Elizabeth Warren, even though Bernie was running. So just because I voted for you one time doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to vote for you the next time. Things change over time, and other candidates come up that I might like better. And I'll base it on the primaries and how they're campaigning, what their stump speeches are like, and what their debates are like. That's what I'll base it all on that. I might really like Kamala Harris. I might say, okay, yeah, she's got my vote. Or I might say, no, I think I like AOC better. I'm going to vote for AOC. Or I might say, you know what, I really like Gavin Newsom. I think I'm going to go with Gavin Newsom. I mean, but right now, it is really early. It is really, really early, and we probably shouldn't even be talking about it. We should be just concentrating on 2026. Let's just concentrate on 2026, folks. And there I even got caught in the trap of talking about 2028. And I caught myself. Let's not even focus on 2028. We've got to get through 2026 first. So let's do that. Alton Gillespie is here. Hey, Alton, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in to the Driver's Lounge. Howdy. To Alton in Texas. I don't know if that slurping went through on the mic. I kind of was slurping up my water. Damon Dog, I'm not going to read it. I'm not reading that. I know it's from 20 minutes ago. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Troll Slayers 77 says, I heard Kamala wants to come back. She recently told BBC, you haven't seen the last of me. I'm not done. And that could mean a lot of things, but including running again. But like I said, let's get through 2026, first of all. Josh agrees with me that AOC should have Schumer's seat. I don't mean have it. She's got to earn it. She's got to go out there and vote, run for it and get voted in, you know. And if she wins, then great. Anymore, Hurricane Melissa is heading towards Jamaica. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, I should have known because my sister's name is Melissa, and I've seen the reports of the Hurricane Melissa, and I was thinking about calling my sister and telling her to calm down. You know, please don't wipe out the eastern seaboard. But yeah, I didn't think about poor old Jamaica. WB2 says, wow, you've had your head in the sand about this hurricane, haven't you? Melissa's about to kill a whole bunch of people in Jamaica. I heard of it. God, Jesus Christ. Relax. I can't worry about I can't worry. I know I got broad shoulders, but I can't fucking carry the whole weight of the world on them, you know. All right, I'm skipping down a little bit here. Lynn says, I don't even know what Sandy. Oh, yeah, I'm going to skip all the things about Sandy and Lynn and Jen. Not Lynn, but Jen. I'm trying not to read those. Catherine Real talks says hurricane heading towards Jamaica is said to be very bad, and if humanitarian aid does not help them, that's ultra bad. Yeah. And I guess don't depend on America. As long as we have Trump in office, maybe he can go down here and throw some paper towels at him. You know. Other than that, this is where I guess Russia and China and Europe, you know, the UK, they're going to have to pick up the slack because America is not going to be there. At least not to the capacity that we have in the past. All right, skipping down. John Glad's here. Always glad to see John Glad in the chat room. And that's what I say every single time. Kimchi's here. The goddess Kimchi. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you for coming on in and hanging out with us for a bit. For a bit today on this Monday. Thanks so much. Josh says, I never made that connection before, TJ. Thanks. I learned something today. And now I don't even know what the connection was. Oh, about confidence, man, maybe? Oh. Well, that's what con is short for. It's short for confidence. Catherine Realitalk says Tom Hartman Power got knocked out today, so he had no show. And he's up in Portland, Oregon. Did Portland, Oregon finally get bombed? Did it finally happen? Michael McAndrew says, I would like to see us get Trumpy out of there before he kills us all. Yeah. Me too, Michael. I saw another meme. You guys see the one somebody posted it says something like I've never been so disappointed in cholesterol or something like that. That made me laugh. I got a little chuckle on that one there. Uncle Gillespie, I can't be too smart. I do a lot of dumb shit. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Marshall Jones, DJT. The J stands for genius. Bonnie Balcom, she's 14. I'm not sure. I'm mid-threaded because I have skipped down. David Whitler, my IQ is 133. There you go. We're really close in IQ. We're pretty close. Josh C says probably 90% of the people can't properly back up a trailer. Well, it just takes a little work, a little practice. You know, you kind of have to do kind of opposite what your mind thinks. You know, so you gotta, you know, you're like, especially like you're looking in the mirror, so you're gonna be kind of turning the opposite way of what you want it to go, and yeah, but you are sure. It is true. A lot of people flunk out of truck driving school at that part of the training. But if you just stick with it, you usually can get it. If you're in a good truck driving school, and they have a good training course, and you can go out there. When I went to truck driving school, these were like 12-hour days out on a hot, big blacktop, area in West Sacramento in fucking August. Okay? Anyone who's been in West Sac in August knows what I'm talking about. It's naturally over 100 degrees, well over 100 degrees every day. And then you're on the blacktop. It's like 120 degrees out there. And all they had for any type of comfort was one little tarp thing with a picnic table under it. And one of those big igloo things full of water, like ice water. And that was it, man. And then we would just they would bring us a box lunch or a bag lunch, which was basically like a sandwich and some potato chips and an apple and a soda. That was our lunch break. Out under the little canopy on the picnic table in the 115 degree heat on the blacktop. And if you can survive that, a lot of them didn't. A lot of them washed out of our class. Every day, people would leave, just disappear. It reminded me of football. It reminded me of Hell Week in football, where you'd have 300 guys on day one, and these are 2 days, right? So the morning, first day one morning, 300 guys. Day one afternoon session, 250 guys. Next morning, 200 guys. Afternoon session, 150. You lose like 50 guys every practice until you got down to the end of it, and you were at. Now I guess this would include JV and varsity. So by the time you got through Hell Week, maybe you had 100 guys or something, and then you start getting in pads. And you're not even hitting, you're just running in pads. Then it starts all over again, where people are dropping off. Because that's like a whole new layer of shit. And then then you're down to like your dirty 30, at least at the varsity level. You got another 30 or 50 for the JVs. But then you start hitting in pads. You're tackling, you're running, you're making contact, full speed in pads. And then a bunch of other guys start quitting, because that's a whole other level of shit that people don't want to go through. It's kind of like, so that's truck driving school. Kind of reminded of that. We weren't hitting, we weren't in pads, but we were out in the elements in this 115 degree heat on blacktop with basically no shade, and for 12-hour days, and then we were trying to learn how to back a trailer, and how to angle back into like we're backing into a dock or backing into a parking spot or a truck stop. So you're doing your angle backing and all this shit. And some people just freaked and couldn't handle it. Some people couldn't handle just the 90 point walk around that you had to memorize. There's a 90 point walk around that you have to do. You have to perform it when you go to get your CDL. When you go to DMV and you get your permit. Well, we got the permit, and then you go back to test to get your regular CDL. And you have to do this 90 point walk around for your inspection. That's like your daily inspection that you're supposed to do of your vehicle before you start. That's your pre-trip. That's your pre-trip inspection. It's a 90 point thing. When I was there, they put us in hotel rooms, and I usually like 2 in a room. So I had a roommate, and one of the first things we did is they gave us the 90 point thing and told us, like, this is it. Just memorize this. And my roommate ended up leaving because he couldn't handle that. So then I had a room all to myself. So I was like, oh, cool. But for the rest of the way, because he was only there like maybe 2 days, and then he went back home. He's like, I can't do this. So I told him, since I had sort of always aspirations or whatever to be an actor, and I had done some memorization of scripts, I told him, just act like you're this is a script for a movie. And he couldn't relate because he didn't care about any like being an actor or anything like that. I go, just pretend like this is a script, and you got and here. In fact, if you want, we can go back and forth like we're reading lines to each other, you know. And I tried that with him, and that didn't work. And I remember he got on the phone. He's calling his wife, and he was like, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this." That was just for the walk around. That was just for the pre-trip, and this guy bailed. And then for each little thing that we did, like. Out there would be new things that we had to. There was like these stations, and you would just rotate. There was the straight backing station, there was the angle backing, there was the parallel parking. They had all these trucks, and they had trailers, and and you would just rotate. And then on the I think the fourth or whatever station it was, you weren't doing anything. So what people would do is they would just keep practicing that pre-trip because they had a truck and trailer that you could just practice your pre-trip. So that's basically what we were doing for 12 hours a day, was going through these different stations, getting in the trucks, and we would learn, straight backing, angle backing, parallel parking, and our pre-trip. And people would bail out on that. And then after about, I guess, 5 days or whatever it was, or maybe it was the start of the next week, then we were actually, because we had our learner's permits, we were actually going out in the truck. So while that was the other station, so while they would take out 3 or 4 drivers at a time in a truck with a instructor, and we were out driving the actual streets and the highways and the freeways of around Sacramento. And people would bail on that. They just could not handle it, being out in real traffic. And so people would bail out on that. So each further along we got in this process of truck school, more and more people would drop out. So by the time we got to the end, I mean, I think we had, I don't know, 30 or 40 people from day one. By the time we got to the end, and we were going back to the DMV to get our final test to get our CDL. And you had to do all those things because the way that the truck driving school set it up, all the things that we practiced is all the things that was right there at the DMV. This is like the commercial driver's DMV. And so after doing that for like 2 weeks, ideally it should have been easy, and it was. So passing all the written tests to get like 100% score on all the written tests I did. Doing all of the things in the yard, the backing, straight backing, the pre-trip, all that, scored 100%. Then you go out on a road test, get 100%, But a lot of people washed out. But by the time we got to that, going back for our CDL, I think we were down to like 10 people, 10, 12 people out of 40. As everyone kept washing out. At some point during the process, they would just wash out, man. Now, I don't know how I got on that tangent. I read one of these chats, I think, and it led me there. MJ Daniel here from Washington State says, as a Republican, why are they okay with this and keep voting for the same shitty people? Because they're propagandized into thinking that the Democrats are they fall for all these sort of manufactured crises, like trans people using the bathroom they don't want them to use, or trans kids getting bottom surgery or what in school or coming home. They believe all that shit. It's the propaganda. They're propagandized. That's one reason. So my only hope is that little by little by little by little, people are waking up. The Republicans, the MAGAs, that they're waking up to the facts that the Republican Party does not have their best interest at heart. And I guess we can just hope for this peeling away little by little. But it's a heavy propaganda machine that we're up against, and doing Fox News and all that kind of stuff. DPD5844 says Timothy Mellon is the asshole who was funding the military. Has ties to Epstein. Shocker, not really. Yeah, I heard that over the weekend. It was Timothy Mellon. Because we were talking about that on Saturday, I think, right? And about who this secret donor was. And so he donated, I guess, $130 million. And we kind of were doing the math on that, where to pay for the payroll of the entire military would, I think I came up with well over $1 billion a month. You know, somewhere between $1 billion and $1.5 billion a month, probably like 1.3 billion a month, I bet you. And this guy is paying for a really minute fraction of that. But he's really not paying for that. Like I say, he's paying for favors. He's paying for access to the president, basically. Damon Dog says, I have pro-America anti-Trump sign in my yard right now. Awesome. Awesome, Damon Dog. A Damon Dog. The big dog. Danny Pomeroy's here. Hey, Danny, good to see you. Danny says, Donald Trump's been running the Republican House since 2023, so his 8 years of service is coming due in midterms. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, you're right, because remember we had a bipartisan border bill that he killed when he wasn't even in office. Just to think of one off the top of my head, there's been many instances where Donald Trump just told Republican leadership, nope, don't do it, kill this, don't do that, we don't want him to do that, and they just do it, and he's not even in fucking office at that time. So I think you're absolutely right on that part of it, Danny. So here we are, Nick Rich, 20 past the hour. I believe I'm 29 minutes behind. Just so you know. Just so you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Why am I talking about something that someone posted 29 minutes ago? That's just the way it works, folks. That's just the way it works. Unless I just completely skip all the way to the bottom and just ignore all these other ones. StemDB2 says, I'm going in person to vote. Yes, on 50 here in California. I didn't trust that the mail would be running because of the government shutdown to mail my ballot in. Yeah, if you feel, if you have doubts about that, then yeah, just run it in yourself. Absolutely. And I'm glad you're voting yes on 50. Hopefully that will help somewhat. Because then you hear about well, they're going to gerrymander in Florida, and they're going to gerrymander in Illinois or whatever. I don't know. So there's going to be some other states going to have to also do their version of a Prop 50. Some other Democratic states. Mr. Spock, it's rigged. I don't believe it's rigged. If I believed it was rigged, I would never watch. There have been plenty of series that don't go 7. There have been 4-game sweeps. There have been a lot of 5 games and a lot of 6 games. There's nothing that proves it's rigged, other than if you could actually have proof that someone rigged it, like Shoeless Joe Jackson or something like that. The Boston 9 or whatever the fuck it was, or the Black Sox. So that's ridiculous. And people say that all the time. And believe me, if I thought it was rigged, I would never fucking watch. And it's not like, it doesn't go 7 games. Last year it didn't go 7 games. The Dodgers beat the Yankees. Was it That wasn't a sweep, was it? I just remember. I think it went 5. I think it went 5 games. Because I think it was game 5 where the Yankees just self-destructed and had like the worst game I've ever seen any team ever have, and the Dodgers won it. So I think they won it in 5 last year against the Yankees. So this whole thing it's fixed is a bunch of nonsense. I'm not saying that I'm not so naive to think that there hasn't ever been any like point shaving going on over the years or stuff like that. But overall, it's not rigged. That's ridiculous. All right, I'm skipping down into the chat. I've just sort of scrolled down a bit. Catherine Real Hot Talk says the team that monitors the U.S. nuclear stockpile has been furloughed. Wonderful. I feel safer already. Yeah, and then people wonder why we are so concerned and wondering if we will survive, actually physically survive this fucking Trump regime. MJ Daniel says the live action Tick was really good and Amazon canceled it after 3 seasons. They have a habit of canceling good shows. Yeah, they do. They do. All right, I'm scrolling down a little bit in the chat here. Tim Farrell says bushes are for pissing when camping. I think we were talking about the bushes earlier, right? MJ Daniel, the bushes are bad, not just DJT bad. Well, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. Marshall Jones says my SIL? Oh, sister-in-law. See, I figured it out. Sister-in-law had 2 hip replacements, and wait. Well, I think she meant she's 26. Wait. Maybe it's not sister-in-law. I don't know. Because now it's his leg got to be amputated now. But no matter what gender, no, that sucks. No matter the gender, that's pretty awful. That's pretty bad. All right, skipping down. I'm skipping down into the chats. I've been skipping down. Josh sees oligarchical fascist. That might be in reference to the Bush family, the Bush presidents, and going back to Prescott. I mean, Prescott is a town. Prescott is a name. I guess I don't know. Kimchi says, to be fair, the family started in whorehouses. They made money honestly back then. That's a good one. But the oldest profession, right, is that one. Lady Jaka, otherwise known as Karen Ames, is here. Karen says, hey, everyone, I'm here for a bit. Well, thanks for coming on in. Nick Rich says, vote blue no matter who. I always like to say that, but then I catch a lot of shit for it, even from, I think, friendlies. About, like, I'm not going to just be a robot or whatever, Okay, fine. But just know that if there are things that are important to you, like affordable health care or good wages, better educational opportunities, whatever, Medicare, keeping Medicare alive, keeping Social Security around, if those things are important to you, then you should be voting blue no matter who, because the Republicans don't give a shit about any of that, and they really would love to do away with it all just so they can give more money to billionaires. So that's why I say vote blue no matter who. It's not because I want everyone to be just a robot or a sheep, a follower, someone who doesn't think about it and they just reflexively vote for blue just because, or vote for Democrats. It's not because of that. It's because of the other thing I just said. And I'm not going to repeat it because I got to move on. I got to move on into the chats. I got to scroll down. DPD5844 says, TJ, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. If you lay down with Nazis, if you employ Nazis, if you break bread with Nazis, if all of your known acquaintances aren't associates, hang with Nazis, you're a Nazi. Nazi, Nazi, Nazi. Yeah, I kind of said that. I think on Saturday, I used that duck analogy. Catherine Real Help Talk says Kamala needs to recuperate first. She'll decide later. Like I said, I don't even want to think about 2028 right now. I just want to concentrate on 2026. Hope to God we get through 2025. We've still got 2 months to go here. Mike Johnson is saying the government might be shut all the way through the rest of the year. Can you imagine that? Could you imagine going 2 more months? I mean, I can't. Like, I've noticed that people have been complaining about their flights being delayed, and it is due to air traffic controllers. What I think, what I was suggesting that they should just quit, or at least call in sick, and I think a lot of them are calling in sick. I think there's a blue flu going around, and I don't blame them. And I think they should just all call out all at the same time, just shut it down completely. And it might come to that if they're not going to open the government until January. I can't imagine air traffic controllers working for free for the next 2 months. Can you? Do you think the air traffic controllers are going to work for free for 2 more months? Something's going to give. Something's got to give there. And when the air traffic controllers all decide to call in sick or whatever all at the same time, and there are no air traffic controllers at all, zero Zippo, and all air traffic gets closed down, then I say to MAGA and to Trump and everybody else, FAFO. FAFO, motherfuckers. You're going to FAFO. That's a FAFO. That is a FAFO. How many times can I say FAFO? Lady Jocka22 says, "Hey, Trucker John, I'm here. Just got a bit." Yeah, I saw you coming in, Karen. Karen Ames from the Victor Valley. Thanks for coming on in. John Glad is here. John Glad says, "I always say I can't save the world. I can't even save myself," laughing out loud. Right. Northern Flicker 6590 is here. Says, "I don't think Kamala had enough time to present a case for her presidency. Curious to see how she approaches things with more time to get her message across." And I've been saying that this whole time. Ever since she lost, I've been saying that. She only had 105 days or whatever it was, and she really came, like, she still came this fucking close to winning, I think. And if she had just, maybe if she'd had 200 days, she would have won. I mean, who knows? I don't know. We'll never know, I guess. But like I said, I don't want to really even think about 2028 at this point. Let's just gear up for 2026 and make sure we can vote in 2026 and really have a big, giant, huge blue wave tsunami, talking about tsunamis, and just kick the ever-living shit out of those Republicans in every way that we can, metaphorically and whatever, peacefully. But, at the ballot box. At the ballot box, folks. Okay, I'm skipping on down in the chat just as in an effort to not be 55 minutes behind. Northern Flicker says, "I'm in Portland too. It's another perfect day. It's a perfect day." What is the what's his face? His song? What's his face? The guy from Walk on the Wild Side, or whatever. Didn't he have a song like, "What a perfect day it is"? No, I don't. That was not how it goes. But 72. That's my IQ. We've all got a bunch of run of 133s, 134s in here, 135s. Mr. Spark, the longer the trailer, the easier it is to back up. Back it on up. Back up that trailer. Josh she says lawnmower carts are the most difficult. If you can do that, you can do anything. Yeah, because you have no. There's absolutely no margin of error there. Yeah, it's such a short little turning radius, just the slightest little turn, and that trailer's already going to start going like that. Josh, she's 3:45. I'm about 17 minutes now because I've been skipping down quite a bit in the old track room here, driver's lounge. Lady Lake, your name says they're racist, bigots, and think Republicans will make them rich. Talking about earlier about why do they vote? Why do they keep voting for Republicans? For a lot of them, yeah, the Republican Party is sufficiently racist for them, and so it corresponds with their racism and bigotry. Absolutely. I have thoughts about things is in the driver's lounge. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Says they haven't seen the full consequences of what the Republican Party wants, and I think they're about to. When their SNAP runs out and they lose their health care and they've got no prospects for jobs or education, maybe they will finally fucking see some of them, hopefully, will see the light. Josh sees sometimes I think the best part of the show is setting TJ off on a tangent. Chad is good people too. Marshall Jones says if it's the Mellon guy, his father on Epstein flight logs. Karen Ames, otherwise known as Lady Jocka, 22, says, I think it's Timmons Mellon. Is it Timothy Mellon? Well, yeah, Timmons Mellon? I don't know. Rich people have weird names. It could be Timmons. Anyhow, is being sued by one of the Epstein victims for ignoring the SARS report on Epstein. His bank kept funding Epstein's sex trafficking. So there you have it. There you have it. Jorgen Jonsson says, sorry if I missed anyone. Something I'm watching horse races too, and I'm Swedish, not from Switzerland. I apologize, Jorgen. My apologies. My deepest apologies. I know that the Swedes hate it if you confuse them with the Swiss. I know it. I know that's a thing, and I deeply apologize. It's just like, well, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I don't want to start another war. Anyhow, skipping on down in the chat. Damon Dog, the Big Dog, says, by the way, I dropped another Hippie Fest video, 20 minutes long. Had a hard time posting it because there was an Eagles song playing and YouTube copyright bullshit, but I think I have it up now. Yeah, usually they give you an option where you can erase the song and still keep the video portion of it and just erase. They can't erase the song underneath. Damon Dog says the video ends with me in a low-rent geriatric drum circle. Nice. I'll have to check that out, Damon Dog, for sure. For sure. We'll be checking that out. Karen Ames, otherwise known as Lady Jocka, 22, says, I'm waiting on the law library to get back from lunch so they can help me correct the court paperwork for my parents' estate. That's important, very important. Yeah, so it's good to have that resource, right? They can help you out with that. That's a great thing. Thank you, California. Thank you, Gavin Newsom, for keeping those type of programs available, those resources available. Jorgen Johansson says it's nothing wrong with mistakes as long as you learn something from them. It's called experience. Right, let's learn from our mistakes, which I feel we didn't do. We voted for Trump, not that I did, and I know most people in this chat didn't, but we as an American society voted for Trump, even with the Russian collusion and misinformation campaign, influence, campaigns aside. We wound up with Trump, And you would have thought that we would never, ever wind up with him ever again. We would have learned our lesson. Unfortunately, many people, I guess, thought he was a great. They still thought he was a great person, good enough to vote, or on the other way, it didn't inspire enough people to come out and vote because there was a big lack of people coming out that didn't vote in 2020. About 15 to 19 million that did not vote in 2024 that voted in 2020. Mr. Spock says, no, TJ, the oldest profession is begging somebody something to ask for it. Gad to ask for it. Somebody had to ask for it? Jürgen Johansson says that Troll Slayer, that's true. It needs a real man to admit his mistakes or that he was wrong. Oh, there it is. There's somebody had to ask for it. But that's not really a profession. So James Hanamigo says true. Blue is true. Red is dead. DBD5840 says in all caps, vote fucking blue no matter what because your life depends on it, literally and not figuratively. Yeah, and then people will accuse you of being over dramatic or whatever, which screw them anyhow, right? But Twistner says, yes, I can, John. I can imagine them not opening the government ever again. Well, okay. Then can you also imagine then a complete uprising? Because I can. And it'll start. It should start with the TSP or with the air traffic controllers. That's a great place to start. Start shutting shit down. And anyone else who's not getting a check that they would normally get should just all shut down. Don't work for free. We're not going to work for fucking free. DPD 5844, that's their plan to keep government shut down as long as they can so they can rob the country blind. Well, there's going to be a point, and I'm going to keep saying this over and over again, as long as you guys keep bringing these things up. There's going to come a point where the shit's going to hit the fan. The shit is going to hit the fan. And you know what happens when shit hits the fan, I think. I don't know if I've ever actually seen shit hitting a fan, but the imagery is that the shit goes flying all over the place. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen. If they don't want to see No Kings protest get larger and larger and larger, they're going about it the wrong way because those are going to get larger and larger and larger. And people are going to start shutting things down. People are going to stop going to work because people can't work for free if they don't, especially if they don't see light at the end of the tunnel. Like for now, they've been going to work. Everyone's hoping, this will get solved within the next week or two. But then if they keep closing down, if Mike Johnson keeps closing Congress week after week after week, and then you hear statements like this might go on through the rest of the year, people aren't going to. Why would you go to work at that point? Why would you go? Fuck it. You're going to fire me? Fine. I'm already not getting paid anyhow. And if we all shut down, then you're going to need air traffic controllers eventually. Then part of the deal is to hire me back, or else we're going to stay out. Use your collective bargaining. Use your fucking your numbers. Let's use our numbers to our advantage because that's really all we got is the numbers. By numbers, I mean the amount of people. We have the people power. That's the only thing we have to fight against the money power. But we have to do it together. We have to come together. Twisted Nerve says they have already destroyed so much during this shutdown and they aren't done yet. there won't be a normal to go back to anymore. Then let's make the new normal when it comes down to it, and we do have we've regained control. The people have risen up, right? And we've got and now we have the control. Let's make the new normal what we want it to be. Let's make it more like a democratic socialist country. Let's have a better safety social net. Let's have health care for all, a national health care system. You know, let's have a UBI, for God's sakes. Let's tax billionaires out of existence. Let's make that our new normal when it comes time to making a new normal. MJ Daniel says Harrison Walz had plenty of time. I blame the American voters for this. There was zero legitimate reason for her to lose. I wouldn't say they had plenty of time. They may have had enough time, but they didn't have plenty of time. And yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, you have to blame the voters because they voted for Trump. And then the ones that didn't show up, you blame them. And we weren't blessed with the luxury of time. Shit happened, and so we had to make the best of it that we could. But I think there are legitimate reasons for her to lose, and that is that people didn't get the message. And if they had more time, more people would have got the message, I think. But yeah, and we can look back and we can say we can find the mistakes, and that's good. Learn by our mistakes, and they did make mistakes. In retrospect, we can see the mistakes they made. But during in real time, I thought they were doing very well. For the time that they had, they were putting in the effort. I'd never seen anyone campaign as furiously and as much as Kamala Harris and Tim Walz did in those 3 months that they had, or whatever it was, 3-4 months. I've never seen any campaign like that. Trying to squeeze as much as they could into such a short period of time. And I thought they were doing great. In real time, I think most people were like kind of amazed. In retrospect, yeah, we can look back, 2020 hindsight and all that, and we can find the mistakes and learn for those. That should be for learning for future campaigns, and not for so much criticizing or leveling criticism at Harris and Walz, as much as it should just be about learning for the next campaigns, for future campaigns. Because in retrospect, I do think she dropped the ball on the Palestinian thing. I don't think she did handle that right. But that's in retrospect. In real time, I almost didn't blame her because she was in a really tough spot, I thought. Like, she's still the vice president. She's still a vice president to the president who was in charge of handling the Palestinian, at least from the American side of it, in whatever we could, in helping negotiate peace plans and ceasefires and all that kind of shit. So she had that, so she might have felt constrained about just saying how she really felt about it. But I do think that was a major issue. But in real time, I didn't. I kind of played it off a little bit. But in hindsight, you can go, oh yeah, I think if only she had handled that better, that might have made the difference. But again, it's hindsight, and that kind of stuff should just be thought about in terms of just helping improve on the next election, I guess, the next campaign. Um, all right, so I'm skipping down in the chat. Jürgen Johansson says, Troll Slayer, I'm a Swedish leftist. As left as you can come, I know how it feels to lose elections. I always stand for my opinions, but even maybe even I can be wrong sometimes, not very often. Yeah, we can all be wrong. That's for sure. Josh C says, I'm making a grilled cheese sandwich with turkey and roast beef. That sounds delicious, actually. Bethany Arball's here. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do see Roxanne 79's here. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you. Thanks for coming back. I know we've had, we have our issues and things, and I appreciate you coming back, regardless of that. So I appreciate that. Mad Max says, I visited your hippie fest. Oh, that's talking about Damon Dog's video, bro. Was great. Yeah, be sure and check out Damon Dog's videos. Those sound pretty cool. Twist Nerve says, yes, that is indeed what we would have, John. I hope we are ready to go out into the streets with them and put a stop to this. I think more and more people are ready to go hit the streets and peacefully protest and just show the numbers, man. We've got the numbers, and that will scare them in a way. If we start coming together, putting our differences aside, and we come together and we're out in the streets and we're saying this shit's got to stop. You can't keep running our government down like this. You can't keep taking everything away from the bottom 99% and giving everything to the 1%. That was the whole Occupy Wall Street. Here we are again. We're back to Occupy Wall Street and the 99-cent movement. That's basically where we're at again. But we need to make it 10 times the size, 20 times the size in terms of numbers, 50 times the size in terms of numbers. This needs to be a movement that I hear like the Jolly Ginger Giant guy talk about. This needs to be a movement. Even Ezra and Leah from Indivisible talking about this needs to be a movement. And this isn't like a one and done. We need to keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. And the numbers need to keep growing and growing and growing. And then those oligarchs, those fucking fascist oligarchs, that's what scares them, because they know that we outnumber them fucking 100 to 1, if not more. MJ Daniel, movie Airplane Shit Hits the Fan. I remember the fan. I think I do remember the fan. Yeah. I'm not sure. Did they actually show shit going all over the place? Catherine Real Talk says, what happened is that the obvious signs of danger were ignored and too many idiots gave him the benefit of the doubt. Others were perfectly fine with his rotten crap. I guess in what, getting Trump reelected? Danny Pomeroy says, John, we vote on the 4th and strike on the 7th, midterm elections. A year from now. The midterms are a year from now. The midterm congressional elections are a year from now. Damon Dog, it was Swiss nerves. It would have been more fun if my friend would have came out, but it was still fun alone. 007 Kevin says we need a hands off too. I'm not sure what that's about. Squirrel Girl, $5 super chat. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. Yippee. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. I'll give you a thumbs up and a heart. Squirrel Girl says, just lurking, not feeling well, but wanted to say how much I appreciate the show and the great community. Well, thank you, Squirrel Girl. And it wouldn't be possible without folks like you, not only with super chats, but with just being here and participating in the chat and making it special. So thank you so much. I do appreciate you. So we got 1 out of 5 on the goal so far. Let's see, where am I at now? I'm just going to skip down a little bit in the chat. Mr. Spock says Trump doesn't care about the airline business. He wants He wants to shut down so the military gets all the jet fuel. Then he's incredibly stupid. Do you realize if the airline business isn't just a business? I mean, it's a business, but do you realize how much commerce is involved? People travel for business. People travel even on vacations. Those are businesses that they go to in hotels and resorts. The U.S. mail uses airplanes to haul the mail in. I mean, do you realize that if there were no air traffic controllers and every single airplane was like shut down, do you realize the impact that would have? So it doesn't care if Trump doesn't care about the airline business. He's gonna care about it really soon. This is the kind of hypothetical, okay? Sometimes I speak in hypotheticals to make a point. If the airline industry completely shut down right at this instance, Donald Trump would care about it in about 1.2 milliseconds. Because he would find out just how everything shuts down. Everything shuts down without airplanes flying. It's a huge, huge deal. It's huge. And I'm sure the military has plenty of jet fuel. I don't even know what that's about. I don't think there's any military jet fuel shortages. I have not heard of any. Of course, I wasn't up on Jamaica, and you guys gave me shit for that, but whatever. We got our own Jamaica going on right here, so I'm sorry. Excuse me, Mad Max says, I blame Elmo for cheating the machines. I haven't seen any proof or evidence of that. I know they said that if they find out, we're going to go to jail, and we have all these quotes. And it wouldn't surprise me, but until we get some hard proof, I don't even like to talk about it. We need evidence and proof. So it's kind of a moot point until we get that. But I mean, not to say you just sort of sweep it under the rug and forget about it. So, I don't know. All I know is 19 million people didn't show up to vote. And if those 19 million people had shown up to vote, we would have won. Because Kamala Harris only lost by a couple million votes in the popular vote, and only 1.4%, the difference of 1.4%. And that probably would have made a difference in all those swing states, those 19 million. It would have filtered out to all the swing states. She lost Nevada here just by like 30,000 votes or something. So, yeah, I'm with, was it MJ? I'm more aligned with that, of blaming the voters than I am Elmo. Not that he, is a saint, or not that I'm trying to let Elmo off the hook. I think he was pretty much a scumbag for all the shit he was doing during the campaign. And unfortunately, I know I've dropped away. I've become like, well, I don't even want anything to do with Tesla. I was a big Tesla promoter, or I loved Tesla cars for a long, long, long time. Since the 2024 election and Elmo and Doge and all that, I was like, fuck you. I'm just done with Musk. I'm done with Tesla. And I've heard all these stories about people getting rid of their Teslas and not doing the same thing, basically, that were big Tesla fans and falling away from Tesla. But then I saw a story, I just saw the headline where Tesla posted their biggest profits. I don't know if that was a quarterly or if that was the yearly profit, but they posted their biggest profits like in company history or something. And that really kind of bummed me out. Now I should have read further into the story, because if that's a yearly thing, then a lot of that might be still from before the 2024 election. So I don't know. I should dig deeper a little into that, and see what that entails. But still, it's a little discouraging to think that Tesla is still making such huge profits. I really want them to go away, unless they can get rid of Musk and have a takeover or whatever and get him out of there. Then I hope Tesla goes under. But it doesn't look like they are. They're posting such huge profits. So I don't know. MJ Daniel says, I think the DNC fucked up with getting the word out more than Harris. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. The convention sure did seem on fire. Like, it seemed really upbeat and positive, and the actual convention, not the corporation there, but when you compare the Republican convention with the Democratic convention, I know that's not what you were talking about. You're talking about the DNC, but just going on looking at those conventions, man, I remember, man, the Democratic convention, it was lit, man. Is that what the kids are saying? It was lit. It was awesome. It was awe inspiring. It was like, fuck yes. And then you saw the Republican one, and they were literally falling asleep. The place was half empty. All the people that spoke were all scumbags and boring as fuck and said stupid shit, and they were chanting racist shit. And so I was convinced right then that, oh, Kamala's got it, man. There's no fucking way. Who's gonna vote for this shit? This Republican shit. It was a shit show. The Republican convention was a fucking total shit show. It was a disaster. I thought there's no way in hell. Look at this. This fucking old diapered man who's falling asleep during his own convention. How the fuck could this motherfucker ever win? And he did. And like I say, I don't know. You want to blame Elmo? You want to blame whoever? I don't know. But it's fucked up. It's so fucked up that the American people couldn't see through that and see what a fucking complete and utter fucking piece of shit that Donald Trump is. It's mind-boggling. It's totally mind-boggling. Catherine Real Hell Talk says, the problem with the Democratic Party as a whole is that they never acknowledge the mistakes of the past, ever. That's largely why the same things keep happening, why we are here now. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I'm not really sure if I agree with that. What are you basing that on? That they don't acknowledge the mistakes of the past, and they keep doing the same things. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of changes just in the last few years. I think they are moving along with the times and trying to get more involved, like through digital means and through, instead of just the old over the air stuff or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I still think it all comes down to the right-wing media as well as the legacy media of not asking the right questions, not following up, and not giving proper credit where credit is due for the Democrats, but then that inequality, that two-sidedness, the way they pump up everything that Trump would do, but anything Biden did it got barely a mention, that all that kind of shit. So I put a lot of this on the media. Hey, look at there. Squirrel Girl sent 5 trucker gift messages. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. Yippee out to Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much for the gifting. That helps so much with the channel. Helps us get people in here and to grow. It's a big way of helping out. So thank you so much, Squirrel Girl. And we see, look at Roxanne79 got one. I hope Roxanne will forgive me. And look at Jen up the base got another one. Got the is that karma or something? Or is that someone trying to tell me something? Roxanne and Jen of the base. I hope they will use those memberships. DPD 5844 got a gift membership. The Soulcraft. Now notice these aren't the @ names when on here. These are like the profile names. And Owen got one. All names that have been in here a lot. And so I'm glad that they all got those. Thank you, Squirrel Girl, so much. And I hope that they will enjoy those memberships. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. I'm a bit humbled by that, and kind of seeing who got, because it's totally random who gets those, and so thanks for that. I appreciate that. David Dog, all 5 are very cool peeps. Yeah. Christina Wiles here. Hey, Christina, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. MJ Daniel says, DJT seems to think making things worse, they can blame Democrats, and even Republicans have stopped buying the line of BS. Yeah, more and more and more of them, I think. That's what I keep saying. It's peeling away, layer by layer by layer. I think the support we're seeing, Donald Trump's approval ratings is going down and really to the bottom now. And so little by little, I think it is peeling away. And Petrazi, they got Petrazi 20 with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Petrazi. 1920. Yippee. There's your yippee. I'll give you a thumbs up and a heart also. Thank you, Petrazi. I appreciate the $10 super chat. Says, too bad Trump can't be defunded. He wastes so much of our money. Well, maybe if we can get the Congress back next year at the midterm congressional elections, we can take back the purse strings. That's what I'm hoping for. Mad Max says they're going to do it again if we don't stop them now. And all you have to do is look for the proof rather than wait for something to happen. Hashtag Election Truth Alliance will show you all the proof you asked for. I'll check it out. Definitely, Mad Mac. I will definitely check it out. Thanks for putting that there. Election Truth Alliance. Okay. I'll have to remember that. Mad Mac. Thanks for that. John Glass says millions upon millions of votes were not counted on top of those that were disenfranchised, show up to vote but weren't able to vote. Again, I've heard all the Greg Palast stuff. A lot of the stuff Greg Palast says, I think, is using outdated information, very old information. So be careful what you get from Greg Palast. I'm not saying you did, but that comes to mind. All the Greg Palast stuff. A lot of that is from way, way back into the Bush administration. Some of the stuff he was using for his arguments. So I think we need to be a little more up to date than that. Nefarious Enough says, hello, Trucker John. Hello, Nefarious Enough. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Mad Mac, I get quad espresso, but they don't do a bloody thing to me except make my wallet lighter. I think maybe you're too your body has built too much of a resistance. That's the problem. So you might have to maybe stop for a while and then let that resistance go back down or whatever. Jürgen Johansson blamed the 46% that didn't vote. I am. When I say the 19 million, I'm talking about the 19 million that didn't vote. Damon Dog, the IDF is committing war crimes. I believe that Netanyahu is a war criminal, just as bad as Putin, and I think we should put Trump in there too. I think he's a war criminal too. If for nothing else, for these extrajudicial murders that he's been doing out in the Caribbean. Notice I said Caribbean, not Caribbean. Kristen Weibel says, why do we have to keep talking about what happened? There was many factors. Election Truth Alliance is doing an audit in Florida about the 2024 election. Good. It'd be nice to see what they come up with. But it's not Florida I'm worried about. It's fucking, those swing states like fucking Michigan and that whole kind of iron rust belt there that Democrats usually win, that they lost. Even Nevada, that it's usually close here, but I think usually goes blue. And she lost here. That's what I'm worried about. These swing states that Trump won. That's my main issue. Florida, we're probably going to lose anyhow. I mean, if you could turn Florida around, that would be a fucking miracle. But it's the swing states that are the most concerning. Josh says, shower time, no peeking. MJ Daniel says, too many had no idea what Democrats and the Biden administration had done. Here I saw no ads on TV other than DJT bad. It was not enough. And a lot of that I put on the DNC itself. See, the thing is, I can't really comment on that, I think, because I don't watch a lot of over-the-air TV. I really just 99% of the stuff I watch is like streaming. I mean, it's either on YouTube or it's Netflix or it's, whatever. Like I watch. So I don't get a lot of the commercials, and on radio I don't really, So I kind of miss all of that. So I guess I'm kind of in a bubble in that sense. I didn't really, because I remember people commenting like how they got inundated with campaign ads, campaign commercials, and how they hate it. They hate campaign season because they get inundated with that. I hear people talking about that, but I don't really experience that because I don't really watch. Really, the only thing I watch over-the-air TV for is for sports. Football and baseball is basically all I watch. I don't really watch much basketball or hockey. Or even the Olympics. So I'll watch some Olympics and stuff when they come on. But I don't watch over the air. So I miss a lot of that. I think I miss a lot of the big campaign seasons, ads, So I guess I can't relate to it, to what the overall picture was in terms of what message the Democrats were putting out, because I don't watch it. I don't watch over the air shit. And if you're just streaming shit, I don't really get a lot of campaign ads. I don't get any, actually. because I'm just streaming shit, you know. So I guess I'm out. I'm out on commenting on that. I can't say one way or the other if I agree or disagree, because I don't hardly watch anything, you know, very little. I remember seeing some ads like here in Vegas. I think it was mainly about the Senate seats and stuff a little bit. I don't hardly remember any presidential ones. But like I said, I just don't watch over the air all that much. And so I think that makes a difference in what you see. DPD 5844 says people can continue to make excuses. The reason Hillary and Kamala did not win is because of racism and misogyny. The fact that people could survive COVID, him making sexual comments about his daughter. I absolutely agree that racism and misogyny played a big part in it. But I still believe that if Kamala had more time, she could have won. And I believe Hillary, who did win the popular vote by 3 million votes, it does show that racism, or at least in that case, misogyny, really wasn't a factor. I mean, she won by 3 million. In that, I think the factor was the Russian collusion in pinpointing voting districts in key swing states. I really think that had a part. And you might think I'm crazy for saying that. I think that played more into it than misogyny. For Harris, like I said, I think if it was more time, she could have maybe overcome it. But still, misogyny and racism certainly, I think, was a big part of it. And I think in order to overcome that, she needed more time. I think she could have overcome the misogyny and racism. In other words, that's what I'm trying to say. If she had had a full campaign, or even not the year and a half, let's say, that Trump had, or more, right? But even if she had instead of just 3 months, if she had 6 months, but like I said, and someone's saying, we should just move on and and learn from our mistakes and stuff. But Squirrel Girl says, yes, Trucker John 3, it's a new foot forward and good karma regarding memberships. Yes, Squirrel Girl, thank you so much again for that. That was really awesome of you. David Dog, I didn't notice the name difference. Well, if you look back, if you can scroll back to where it was naming the people who were gifted, it wasn't the @ names. It was the regular profile names that were on there. Roxanne 79, I know that it's wild, TJ, and of course I forgive you. Thank you, Roxanne. I feel bad for saying bad things to good people, so I do apologize. Jorgen Hansen says, TJ, do you think I speak right bad English? I think you're fine. There's a few little mess ups, but your English is way better than my Swedish. Whatever Swedes do. You're fine. You're fine, Jorgen. It's great. Christina Weill says, did you all know that a House Rep Dim filed a lawsuit against all the companies who were complicit in the destruction of the East Wing? I do. I know that. I think we may have talked about it a little bit on the last show. But yeah, so good on him, and let's see where that goes. The Soul Crafts here says, I'm listening, but clean house for mom. Thanks for gift, Squirrel Girl. Yeah, Christina says it's a young man named Nathan. He's been on Jessica Denson. Roxanne 79 says prayers for Jamaica. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, everyone could use a prayer. Regardless of your religious beliefs, I think everyone could use a prayer. Mad Mac 9 says Election Truth Alliance has all the info about the impossibility of what happened in the swing states too. Check them out. I'm going to have to do that. Election Truth Alliance. I'm trying to memorize that because I would have to put my microphone down and go find a piece of paper and a pen if I, to write it down. So I'm just trying to memorize it in this steel trap up here that is my brain. And I do need some more water. I'm getting so dry right now. My throat. From talking. Talking makes your throat get dry. Try it sometime. Try doing it for 2 hours and 10 minutes sometime. DPD5844 says, I still firmly believe that Harrison Walls won. Remember what Trump said about Pennsylvania? He said, don't worry, Elon fixed it for us. What exactly did he fix? But maybe he didn't mean fix in terms of, here I am defending Trump. Maybe he didn't mean fix as in terms of it being rigged. Maybe he meant fixed as in repaired it. Like there was the system was broken and he repaired the voting system. There's a lot of ways people can say shit and it doesn't mean what you think it means or whatever. I know you guys are going to fucking think I'm a dick for defending Trump. I'm not trying to defend Trump. Maybe a little bit of devil's advocate there. Or, because I do think sometimes, I think Trump just says a lot of shit and he doesn't mean it the way we maybe think he means it. Mad Max says, I can't drink any kind of lemonade, too much acid, and I pay for it by the burn in my stomach. I can drink a little lemonade. It doesn't seem to affect me. Anyhow, as stomach and throat, I drink hot tea with milk and 1 raw sugar. Perfect for me. At Twisted Nerves, can't eat pineapple either. Wow. You're really... yeah, I can eat pineapple. I can do all that. I think I do have a cast iron stomach. The other day I was telling you guys how I had a chili cheeseburger and chili cheese fries from Tommy's original. And Robert from down San Diego way was saying how that would give him, I don't know, heartburn and apparently, I don't know, diarrhea or something. Not me. That old Trucker John. Jürgen Johansson, the perfect call. I just need 11,800 votes. Wonder who's the trickster. Yeah, we got him on tape, huh? We've got him on tape. Oh, Lordy, let there be tapes. Well, there's a tape where he's that alone should have landed him in prison. That alone, right? That is like vote tampering 101 or whatever. I mean, that's like 101, but that's fucking vote tampering, and he's on fucking tape. That should have landed him in prison, or at least made him ineligible, or for running for president. For God's sakes, maybe not. I know the Constitution. All it says you got to be 45 or 40 and be born in the United States. That's really the only 2 requirements, constitutionally wise, but for being president. But is it 35? I think it's 35, isn't it? And be a U.S. citizen, natural-born U.S. citizen. That's the only 2 requirements. So you could be a fucking anything else, and you can still run for president. But that should have put him, I think, in prison or at least whatever the stiffest penalty would have been for vote tampering. He should have got that. Just on that one fucking phone call alone, we had the fucking tape. We've got it. He's telling them to switch votes, and he's trying to use his office of the presidency to intimidate the state of Georgia to just flip some votes. Just do it. That's all I need is 11,800 or whatever it was. And that alone should have been. I mean, there's so many that alones. I think the pussy tape grab him by the pussy. That alone should have been enough for voters to say, I'm not voting for this motherfucker. There's so many things that should have been enough, but it wasn't. And all I hear about, like, when he ran against Hillary, I did hear people say that they didn't think a woman should be president. So that's the misogyny, right? And then you just heard about she's in bad health. She's dying. All this shit that they believe that put out by the right wing and by the Russians. That's Russian collusion right there. That's Russian misinformation. Because all of the Tim Pools and all those that are being paid off by Russia, they're the ones that are putting those stories out. So that's the Russian collusion. When people say, what do you mean by Russian collusion? Well, that's part of it. They're paying influencers like Tim Pool and Alex Jones to put out stories about that Hillary Clinton is dying. She's on her deathbed. She's not fit to be president because she's going to die. They said shit like that. That's the Russian disinformation campaign. So we got to stop taking the fucking bait. All the goddamn time. We fall for the fucking banana in the tailpipe trick. We got to stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe trick, people. Jesus H. Christ. And that's why we're here where we are today with fucking felon, 34-time fucking convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist in the White House, is because we keep falling for the fucking banana in the tailpipe trick. How many times are we going to fall for that? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to the rest of the world. We have become the laughingstock of the world because of this, of falling for these bullshit stories that are put out by a little fucking Russian dictator. Fucking 5'5", all 5'5" of them, who was a fucking psyops fucking dude from the fucking KGB. And we've fallen for his fucking tricks, hook, line, and sinker. And the rest of the world is laughing at us. We should all be ashamed and embarrassed by this motherfucker who has affected so many people in a bad way. And most of them don't even know it. They blame it on the Democrats, and they're so stupid for doing that. And these aren't all stupid people. There are smart people that fall for this shit, too. It's not all just dumbasses. Believe me, I know. Anyhow, we're at 2 hours and 18 minutes. I was going to try to go to work and get back in time for the game. The game starts... Well, I took my watch off. The game starts in 3 hours. I don't know. I got to make a decision because I need to work, but I want to watch the game. It's really a predicament. I'm really in a predicament here. But in any case, I should sign off the show. You guys, thanks so much for watching. We got 51 watching, 62 thumbs up. So we are ending up like good Democrats with a pretty good surplus. That's the way it should be. If we had Democrats in office right now, just think, we would have been riding that Bidenomics. We would have been continuing on with that, with inflation going down and wages going up and jobs going up. I don't know. Some people were predicting a recession regardless, though, because I don't know. I guess maybe there was going to be a recession no matter what. I don't know. But I do have a feeling that our government wouldn't be shut down. I do have a feeling that regardless of that we had a looming recession, we wouldn't be seeing 45 million people lose their SNAP benefits. We wouldn't see over 25 million people losing their health care pretty soon when they can't afford it anymore. We wouldn't see air traffic controllers not getting paid to do a very vital job that really, they're right up there as far as the trucking industry, as far as I'm concerned. Between the airlines and the trucking industries, that's what moves everything in the shipping industry. I mean, you shut those down, you shut the government down, you shut the country down. I mean, not just shutting the government down, but I mean, you shut everything down. You shut down commerce. Commerce is income for the country. So I don't see any of that happening if Kamala Harris had won. Regardless of maybe there might have been a turn down in the economy or whatever, but it would not be anywhere near as bad and as rotten as it is right now. And we sure as fuck wouldn't be seeing a fucking ballroom, a destruction of the East Wing to build a fucking stupid ballroom. We sure as fuck wouldn't be seeing that right now. We would be seeing people looking forward to the holiday season instead of now it becoming a nightmare scenario. And that's the difference. You know, Barack Obama talked about change and hope, a lot of hope. With the Democrats, and I remember with Kamala Harris, one of the big buzzwords that came out was joy. And I remember feeling joy. I think I was feeling joy. So much of us were feeling joy. When you watched the Kamala Harris rally, you felt the joy. You felt the love. You felt the hope. And when you watched a Trump rally, at least from my point of view, you felt like it felt like death. It was like death. It was like watching a dying man trying desperately to just stay alive as long as he could. You saw this dying, grasping man, and who was just really promoting hate. Really promoting hate. That's how opposite these two camps are, these two parties are. And I know we are where we are. We can't change the past. So I don't want to dwell too much on how things would be if Kamala Harris had won, how much better off we would be. Can't do anything about it. All we can do now is move forward, keep going to No Kings and all these other things, whatever they're going to call it. Get the numbers up, make this movement, make this a political movement where we want the government to serve us, the bottom 99%, the working class. We don't want to give everything we have to the fucking billionaires who don't need it. They don't need any of this shit. Even if you're a multi-millionaire, you've got more than enough to last you for fucking lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. Don't come at me with how rough life is if you're a fucking millionaire even. I don't want to hear it. It's bullshit. We got people scraping by trying to raise kids on 30, 40,000, 50,000 a year, even 60 or 80,000 or 90,000 to try to raise a family. You're just scraping by. You're just making it. Can you imagine if you made $1 million a year? You wouldn't, if you were, frugal and you knew how to run a household and you knew how to not be a dick with your money, that would be more than enough. That would be just more than enough to have a nice house, raise your kids, feed them and clothe them, getting them educated, getting them to college if they want to go, or get wherever they want to do. You would have plenty of money. You'd have plenty of money for your health care. You wouldn't. They say money doesn't bring happiness. I'm not saying money brings happiness. What I'm saying is millionaires have no fucking room to bitch. If you're a fucking just a millionaire, not even talking about the billionaires, you got no fucking room to bitch. You're doing very, very well, and you have no reason to complain. And if you're having any troubles, that's on you. If you're a millionaire and you're having really hard time, that's on you. If you're making 75 grand a year and you got 3 kids and you're having a hard time, that's really not on you. And if you're making it, God bless you, because you're fucking scraping and scrapping, and you're doing everything you can. And I know a lot of people, myself included, we're living on fucking 20 grand a year. I'm only a single old guy, so it's a lot easier for me. But there's probably families out there that have 2 or 3 kids that are only making 20 grand or 25 grand or whatever, less than 30 grand a year. I can't imagine that. I can't even imagine that. So we need to have this movement where we're not going to have our tax dollars go to just fucking bailing out billionaires. They don't fucking need it. In fact, I know a lot of people in here say billionaires shouldn't even exist. And I'm on to that. I'm all for that. Let's tax them out of existence. You don't need to be a fucking billionaire. Tax them out of existence. Let's put that money into helping the country, helping the people to have better lifestyles, and not to be so stressed out every fucking week if they're going to make their rent and be out on the street with their 3 kids. Why do we want to live in a society like that when we are the richest country in the world? That's the thing. It'd be one thing if we were just a dirt poor country. Then you can understand it. But we're not a dirt poor country. We are the richest fucking country on the planet and in the history of this planet. That's the thing. That's the rub. So there's no excuse or reason why we should have people just barely scraping and a lot of people not even making it. We shouldn't have homelessness. We shouldn't have people going without food. You know, we shouldn't have that. Everyone should be well-fed, well-housed, well-clothed, well-educated. That's the way it should be in the richest goddamn nation in the world. But the thing is, we got a lot of these assholes that are just greedy fucks. Greedy-ass motherfuckers. Total fucking greed. And it's going to get to the point, if they push us too far, they stand to lose everything. So keep pushing us, Trump, and you maggots, and you fucking billionaire fucking assholes. Keep pushing us. Keep pushing us. That FAFO thing, the thing that we talk about, fuck around and find out. You're going to find out. Because eventually you're going to push us too far. And I believe we will all come together. And we will rise up. Yeah, Christina says, I'm living on less than $15,000 a year for many years. Mr. Spock, I make $7,800. But Spock, I think, aren't you in Canada? And I'm not saying that's a lot of money, but at least you got fucking health care, right? We don't even get that. And when we do, we got to pay a lot for it. Even through ACA, people are paying a lot. And now they're going to be paid 2, 3, 4 times a month, more than that, and they're not going to be able to afford it. They're not going to afford it. They're going to lose their health care. So all right, guys. I guess I'll end it on such a cheery note. We'll end things on a cheery note. Again, we got lots of folks in here that I want to just say thank you guys so much. Thanks for the donos, as the kids are calling it, with the super chats. Thanks for the gifting, Squirrel Girl out there. I know. Let's see, we had Sandy Foltz with this $2 super chat. Let's see, we had Squirrel Girl with the $5 super chat. Squirrel Girl with the 5 gift memberships. Petrazi, $10 super chat. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you for helping out the channel that way. And also thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for all the thumbs ups. That's a great way of supporting the show, and it doesn't cost a dime. Thanks for the subs. We're at over 4,170 now. We're trying to get to 5,000, so let's keep it going. Let's get the subs up. And I appreciate that. And let's see here. Hey, people, you want to know how much a tough cookie makes and lives off? I don't make anything. You want to know why? Because I'm a cookie, and they don't pay cookies. So try living on zero. Yeah, then pop off. Right? I think we should have a tough cookie movement. All the tough cookies, we need to stand up against people who eat us. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Getting eaten. I'm trying not to get eaten. I kind of figure if I'm the meaner and nastier I can be, then maybe the less likelihood someone would try to eat me. But I don't know. It's worked so far. It's worked. I will say it has worked so far. So, there's that. And I know it's tough. It's tough out there for everybody. It's tough for Tough Cookie, and it's tough for all of us, But let's just try to hang in there. Let's hang in there, and I am looking forward to seeing everyone out at the next No Kings or the next protests. That's how we beat them, and we beat them at the ballot box, and we beat them at the cash register. We can boycott places that are supporting fascist regimes like they are with Trump. We can do it that way. We can keep protesting, get those numbers up. I'm calling for all the Purple Beard Brigade to get out there. Make sure you protest. My mustache was a little itchy, but yeah, everyone, let's just get out there and make our numbers known, and send a message out to the White House that we aren't going to take it, man. Hey, man, we're not going to take it. So I'll see you guys out there. And again, guys, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. All right, thanks for those guys. Yeah, if you hadn't hit the subscribe, please consider hitting that subscribe button and being a subscriber. Let's get to 5,000. I guess the only thing left to do, I don't know. I'm really itchy right here, guys. I don't know. For some reason, me and Paul, we both have an itchy mustache going on. But so the only thing left to do is the words of wisdom. So you might want to get a pen and pad out ready to write these down. And then, of course, I'll be seeing you guys again tomorrow at 9 a.m. So remember, tomorrow is a Tuesday. The days that start with Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do the show at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So we'll see you again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the Trucker John Show YouTube channel. And I will see you guys then. Okay, you guys ready for the words of wisdom? Okay, I think I gave you enough time to get something to write with and write it on. Okay, so for today's words of wisdom, here we go. Just always.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Well, have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So high-style of Easter, baby, the show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I try to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream, this is where we win, right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, this time to say goodbye, the show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you wanna take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt. It's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road. That's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road. Just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret. It'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life. Everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot. You're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over, I'm out of here, folks. Bye.